Okay, so now we're going to talk about the pipeline. Um, I love this quote by Beverly Seals. She says, "There are no shortcuts to any place worth going." The pipeline should be a familiar term for anyone with sales experience. When you talk about a sales pipeline, it has several basic steps, right? First, you make contact, and then you collect information, and then you meet, and then you make proposals, and then you close. You may alter the stages based on your services, but monitoring the pipeline allows you to monitor prospecting and lead generation. So the first stage of the pipeline is contact. Contact. You may contact a prospect through cold calling, but the prospect will often contact you in response to your marketing. Regardless of how the contact occurs, you must take the opportunity to learn about your prospect. Check the website history, look up your prospect online. Take the opportunity to ask questions if the contact comes through a call or a meeting. And after making contact, services will typically compile information on prospects. You could use websites, you could use questionnaires, you could use conversations that you have with them. Choose a method of storing information that works best for you and a database or even a spreadsheet. I use a spreadsheet. As you catalog information, organize them based on needs, interests, etc. This information will be used to connect with prospects. Now you've established contact. The next thing is you're meeting with them. After gathering information about them, it is necessary to meet. Now, this does not need to be face to face. It could be online, it could be over the phone, it could be face to face if you can make it happen. Regardless of how the meeting occurs, it is important to be prepared. The meeting should allow you to develop your business relationship and explain ways that you can meet their needs, meet the client's needs. And the first meeting is often too early to present a proposal. So that first meeting, like I always say, that's really the opportunity for you to get to know them, for you to really understand what their pain points are and the very parts, the very gaps that your service can meet to them, even individually against just the entire market, right? The first meeting is the place to establish that you're not just trying to sell them, that you're trying to really know them so that you can really serve them. The however, the sequences of the pipeline are not static. So once you've met, you can now build a proposal. What I love to do is to build a proposal after the meeting that is completely customized and completely personalized for that particular individual or for that particular organization. Now, the sales proposal is based on communication with the prospect. The proposal will depend on your business. And some will be based on standard rates and prices, while others will require more research to develop. And once a proposal is submitted, it is important that you follow up with a prospect. Do not simply trust in fate. Be available to answer questions or to make adjustments, because that proposal must include a timeline and the details should be based on earlier discussions with that client or that prospect. Sorry. You cannot consider the sale to be complete at this stage of the proposal. The proposal stage leads to closing at a 1-to-3 ratio. The proposal must be officially accepted before that sale is made. Okay, so when you're done at that, you can now get to the closing stage. And that's the final stage of the pipeline. It's not finished until it's closed. Okay, it may be necessary for you to negotiate with the customer to officially close. We've talked about this in really once when we're talking about objections, sales objections, and how we can overcome them. Sometimes you have to compromise a little to close a sale. And closing occurs when the contract or order is signed and the sale is implemented. It is important to carefully guide your customers through the closing process. Just because someone accepted a proposal doesn't mean that the sale is finished. Additionally, it is important to close quickly, Because the more time you give them to consider the purchase, the more likely they are to think of reasons not to buy. And you want to avoid that. So there's a sweet spot between not pressuring them too much to sign and not leaving them too long to consider the possibility of coming out of the sale. All right? Okay, so let's continue the conversation in the next lesson.